Would you like to grow turnips or turnip greens? Did you know that turnips have played a major role in human survival? Well, stick around because I'll tell you all about turnips, a vegetable that everyone should know how to grow. Hi, this is Valerie, and welcome back to Now Gardening. Today will be all about turnips, how turnips have contributed to human survival, the dietary importance of turnips and turnip greens, how to grow turnips, including different methods and different seasons, and then last I'll tell you what can destroy your turnip crop literally overnight and how to avoid it. So let's get started. Turnips were one of the first vegetables to be cultivated by humans. According to Eric Hamilton at the University of Wisconsin in Madison, humans likely domesticated turnips near present-day Afghanistan 3,500 to 6,000 years ago. Turnips were a staple crop in ancient Greece and Rome, with Roman naturalist Pliny the Elder considering them one of the most important vegetables at that time. Turnips were also eaten throughout the Middle Ages, and in World War I, Germans ate them during the infamous turnip winter of 1917 in order to survive. So why did turnips play such a crucial role in human survival? Due to their ability to grow in various climates and various soils, they have literally been a lifesaver during famines. All parts of the turnip are edible, both the turnip and the greens, and their nutritional content is literally off the charts. I'll show you up here. Turnip leaves, also called turnip greens, are exceptionally high in vitamin K, vitamin C, and vitamin A. They are also a good source of dietary fiber, which is beneficial for the digestion. Turnips and turnip greens are both sources of vitamin C and provide moderate amounts of potassium and folate. So incorporating both of these guys into your meal can provide a wide range of essential nutrients. Okay, that's all good. You're convinced now that they're nutritious and that they've been important through the ages, but how do you grow them? Now I'll take you through a few different ways to grow them so that you can choose which one is right for you. First, depending on the time of year, I either start turnips inside as seedlings and then transplant them out, or I direct sow them. Now a lot of people will tell you that root vegetables are not something that you can start as seedlings and then transplant out. Absolutely not the case. With turnips, I've done it many times. So don't hesitate to start them inside if your temperatures are not ideal. Now, what are we talking about temperatures for turnips? Turnips grow best from 40 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's about maybe 5 to the low 20s degrees Celsius. They can survive frost, but at temperatures that exceed 75 degrees, so 23 or so degrees Celsius, you'll actually see the turnips start pushing up out of the soil. At that point, they'll become bitter, and you really want to get them harvested either right away or preferably before that actually happens. The other thing that can drive them to turn bitter is lack of water, so you do want to make sure that they have enough water as well. A couple of other tips: I have grown them in containers before. Tried them first, I think, in 5 to a 5-gallon bucket. They grew just fine, but the turnips were pretty small. And then last year I transplanted 3 turnips per grow bag, and then those had excellent results, both in the size, the taste, the texture, everything. In fact, the turnips reached the same size as the ones that I had actually started directly in my garden. If you do sow in the fall, if you have a mild winter, direct sowing is very easy because the soil temperatures are like prime at that time, so the seeds germinate very easily during that time period. Then my last recommendation as far as growing turnips do not need a lot of fertilizer, which again makes them a perfect survival crop. I give them a fertilizer that's low in nitrogen and then a moderate level of phosphorus and potassium, and that's it. So what's the downside? It sounds like turnips are super easy to grow, right? Well, there is one little thing that you need to keep in mind. It starts right here. Although humans are often quite picky about eating turnips and turnip greens, guess who's not picky about them? Pests love turnips and turnip greens. In fact, there are 4 main pests that will go after your turnips. Since turnips are part of the same family as cabbages and broccoli, then guess what? Yes, the infamous cabbage moth does go after them and will lay its eggs on them, which once they hatch, then the cabbage worms will eat holes throughout your plant. Now that's not the biggest problem from what I've experienced. There's one thing that can wipe out a turnip crop literally overnight. I've had it happen with small plants before they get too big. Snails love the leaves of turnips. They always seem to find them. I mean, this is a waist-high raised bed and snails still manage to find the turnip greens and nibble on the leaves. So what can you do? Well, there's one easy thing that can save your entire crop and also save you a bunch of headaches, and that is to cover your crop. As you see here, there's a hoop. That's because these guys have been covered up until about 2 weeks ago, I would say. They were covered full time. They actually started pushing against the top of it, which is when I knew that it was time to take the cover off. Now the holes, once the plants get a little bit bigger, they can handle it. Honestly, it's not a big deal, and you can still eat the turnip greens even with a few holes in them. It's not a big deal. The other two pests that you should look out for on turnips are flea beetles. So if you see little bitty holes in your leaves and you'll see these little little bugs jumping around like fleas, those are flea beetles. And then the last thing that really can cause a lot of problems is aphids. And one thing that I've used to get around that problem is a trap crop. And I'll show you here, I've got a couple of spinach plants planted that actually draw the aphids to them so that they stay away from my turnips. So become a part of history and join me in growing turnips. Whether you're growing them for health or hard times, turnips are a crop that everyone should know how to grow. Thank you. Bye.